Welcome everyone back to Curiosities. I've been down but not out. I fell ill for a while, so that's why you haven't seen any videos of me. And while I was in this half comatose state, I was watching a lot of YouTubers. And I know that the weekend before, as I'm recording this, there was a release by the MCU called The Marvels. Now, a lot of people had been predicting all kinds of things about this movie. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to get into how it's been going and how it's been received and what people are saying about it in the media. So yeah, I have a thing or two to say about it. I want to discuss that. But before I do, I just want to say thank you to all those people that came, supported me for the book launch on Thursday the 16th, November 16th, and that was fun. Sold a lot of books. There was a lot of people there. And it was a fun time, and so it was really heartwarming and very humbling. If you haven't gotten your copy of the book yet, the link is in the description. Go on Amazon.com and order your copy of the Ouroboros. Help this channel grow, and you're going to get a really good book. Anyway, let's get to the Marvels. All right, I got this article here from Salon. The headline reads, "Maybe the Marvels performed poorly because the MCU and its fan base are getting old," literally. I want to start off my commentary with one particular fact, and that is, at the time of this recorded, I am 52 years old. I don't think I've watched a superhero movie since Iron Man, and I forget what year that came out, with the one with Robert Downey Jr. I guess at my age, and I'm sure a lot of people watching me who generally watch me, when you get to be around my age, you don't really do superhero movies. I mean, I guess some people do. I would imagine a lot of people do. I'm just not one of them, and I suspect a lot of people aren't. I mean, it would take a lot. You know, when they had the Thor, Love and Thunder, and all that other stuff going on, I wasn't the least bit interested in any of those movies involving Thor or any of that stuff. I don't think I've ever seen any of those movies, and nor did I have any interest to see any of those movies. I think the whole appeal to me fizzled out when Iron Man had that battle with Captain America, and then after that, I just didn't really care anymore. And it's going to take a lot for me to get interested in anything related to Marvel at this point. Let's see what this article has to say, because let's see what they're getting at. It says, maybe the subpar box office performance of the Marvels, to echo Thanos' high opinion of himself, was inevitable. It is a sequel to a movie that came out not just in the previous decade, but in an altogether different era for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And so I think there was a great anticipation for the Marvels, but I think there was a lot of people that were screaming from the mountaintops that this was going to fail miserably, because they were casting people and characters in lead roles in this film that nobody really knew, and nor did they care about. There wasn't a big backstory to any of these characters. There was no real large fan base or demand for any movies involving these characters. I mean, you had Miss Marvel, and I mean, she's a decent character and she's a decent actress, and I get why people would want to see her, but could she carry a blockbuster of $300 million production cost? I don't think so. And certainly it wasn't going to be Brie Larson, the Captain Marvel, because she's about as likable as Rachel Zegler. So that wasn't going to happen either. And then they had these side characters, excuse me, and nobody really knew who they were. Like Maria Rambeau, who's that? Like, I don't even know these people. Like, why would I pay money to a theater to see these people? And mind you, that's overlooking the fact that they're all women. Okay, they're all women. There's like no men, and the men that are always in these movies nowadays, they're always like emasculated. They're always doofuses. You know, they're kind of clumsy. They're always outsmarted and always outdone by the women, and the women are flawless. And unfortunately, I don't think it's just a man thing. I think there's a lot of women that see beyond all that. They see for what it is. It's just lazy writing. It's not very charismatic. It's certainly not interesting. You know, some of the plots in this movie that were outlined in other shows that I saw seemed really cringe. Like, there's really nothing to this movie that would be appealing. All right, let's read on with this article. It says, Captain Marvel, which represents Brie Larson's MCU debut as Carol Danvers, grossed $5.4 million over its opening weekend in 2019. It would eventually top $1 billion in worldwide box office sales. This was to be expected at a time when even middling MCU efforts could easily clear $57 million in the first few days of their release, as Ant-Man did months before Captain Marvel jetted into theaters. So I've heard other people mention this, that going back a decade, Marvel didn't come out with movies all the time. They would come out with a movie once in a while, and when they did, it was always a big event. And so people really got to like the anticipation for these films. But as time wore on, they started cranking out more and more of them because they were looking at the short term. They wanted to make more money, and so they would crank out these films. But then they started changing some of the characters. You had people cast in roles that would overtake the main character. I think we saw that with Doctor Strange, and certainly with Thor. You had these other characters that would come in and they would outshine the star of the movie, who the movie was based on. People started getting tired of that. Honestly, I think there's a combination of things. The MCU and the Marvel's latest movie was an absolute disaster. It's a bomb, if there ever was one. And the reason why it bombed so terribly is a culmination of a lot of different things. It's poorly written, and everyone can see that. You have characters in there that it's not really appealing to a wide audience. It may be appealing to some people, but not a lot, not the vast majority of people. You have oversaturation. You have Marvel movies coming out every other month. You had Marvel TV shows on Disney Plus. You had Marvel this, Marvel that, Marvel. And the only reason why I'm bringing up the whole idea, because I wasn't really going to talk about, I never really talk about Marvel or any of these, DC movies or anything like that, because over the summer I was, it's kind of selfish really, but over the summer I was trying to give away some MCU posters as part of a giveaway that I was doing with my Patreon. And I found it really odd, excuse me, I found it really strange that I wasn't getting a lot of takers. And there's just people that didn't really want, they didn't really want the MCU stuff that I was giving away. I couldn't give it away, even to people that were, supporters of mine, which was really strange. But now that it started to really dawn on me that I think there's a lot of people that just walked away from Marvel. They just walked away from Marvel, and the more that Marvel wants to double down on the whole, every big flawless superhero is a woman, and every guy's a complete doofus, and all this other crap that they were putting out there that was just terrible writing and rushed productions. People just got tired of it and walked away, and then they lost a vast army, a vast sea of fan in the fandom, because they didn't want to stay true to the source material, the original storylines. They wanted to, kind of tweak things and twist them, and I don't know, to fit some kind of storyline. It was just really pandering, honestly. All right, let's finish up this because, this is more than enough, I think, that I need to say about it. Finally, it says here, 4 years later, The Marvels has the lowest opening weekend in MCU's history, with its $47 million domestic take underperforming even readjusted projections. It was originally predicted to take in $75 to $80 million over its premiere weekend, but that bar was lowered to expect a range between 60 to 65 million. I don't know. I mean, that's pretty bad, because you figure if it's a $300 million production cost just for the film, not counting advertisement and marketing, you're looking at this movie needed to make at least $700 million just to break even, something around there, or even closer to $1 billion. That's just not going to happen. I hate to say it, but Disney really dropped the ball on this one big time. And they're going to take a huge loss on this movie, because nobody's going to watch this movie. Nobody cares to see this movie. It's really sad to see a once proud and fantastic production like Marvel dwindle down to basically twigs. It's nothing. It's really nothing. Nobody cares about the MCU. Nobody cares about Marvel anymore, and that's a real shame. I'm curious y'all to see. Did any of you go see the Marvels? I mean, if you do, please drop a comment what you really thought of the film. I personally will not go see this film. I have no intentions of going to see this film, nor even if it's on the movie, even if it's on TV for free. I don't think I'd watch this film. But I'm curious if you are. Tell me, drop me a comment below or DM me if you'd like. Don't forget to get a copy of the Ouroboros. The link is in the description. Anyway, thank you all for sticking with me. Please hit that like button. Hopefully I've earned that. If you're watching on YouTube, consider becoming a subscriber. Hit that notification bell. Until next time, God bless.
New Kingdom Radio Theater.